Тягнемо проти Господа. Джай Прабхупада. Джай. Гянати Миранда сега гна шалакая. Чашурм витаминат смай сигуру вен маха. Си читани мено пистам стъпите мен бутеле. Чар пака дам хям да ти сам подам ти кам. Ван дехам сигуру ще отпада към лам сигурно веш нявча. Сигурно се гаждам с хат на равнатам витам. Сам дивам. Там сам дивам. Сда се вдут с парича се там кашначи тя не тевам. Ширада Кришна пата сакам на улита ши шакам витам ча. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vrisha Panu Suteteri Pranama Mehari Priye Vancha Kalpata Rupasha Klipastra Pevacha Vaditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I will again try to read from the Gayatri book. Jai, the Gayatri book. Jai, His Holiness Sachinandana Swami, Jai, His Divine Grace, Vajrana Vrinda Shila, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So, part 8 of chapter 8, a meditation on Krishna. The following text, taken from the Hari Bhakti Vilasa, provides an extensive meditation on Krishna in Vrindavana. As mentioned earlier, both the Gopala mantra and particularly the Kama Gayatri are meditations on the divine couple, Shri Radha and Krishna, Srimati Radhika and Shri Krishna, who are situated within the beautiful forest groves of Vraja. In order to absorb our mind in such meditation, it is necessary to become familiar with this divine reality. While chanting Gayatri, qualified sadhakas will then be able to manifest Sri Vrindavana Dhamma before their mind's eye and mentally roam about seeking the Lord and Mistress of their heart. The pure land of Vrindavana is cooled by the presence of trees whose tender branches are laden with clusters of new buds and the most attractive flowers. These trees are flowing with honey and saturated with heavenly fragrances, and their trunks are entwined with vines decorated with clusters of fresh flowers. The heart of Vrindavana resounds with the humming of swarming bees that have come to taste the nectar from the blossoming flowers, and with the cries of the doves, parrots, shankas, and cuckoos. Everywhere the peacocks dance. Vrindavana is served by a soft, soothing breeze carrying a fine spray from the lapping waves of the Yamuna. That breeze, hearing the pollen dust from fully blown lotuses, playfully shakes the garments of the gopis, whose minds then become agitated with desire for their Lord. In the minds of Vrindavana, in the midst of Vrindavana, stands a towering Kalpa Vriksha tree, bestower of all desires, whose branches are coral, leaves are emeralds, bouquets of buds are diamonds, and pearls, and fruits are rubies. Served by the seasons personified, this tree simultaneously produces all kinds of flowers. As the base of the nectar-showering Kalpa Vriksha tree is an area that shines as brilliantly as the sun rising over a range of solid gold mountains. Sparkling with inlaid jewels and glowing with heaps of golden pollen, this place is completely free from the waves of lamentation, illusion, old age, death, hunger, and thirst. On the jewel-inlaid floor is an exquisite asana in the form of an 8-petaled lotus, tinted the color of dawn. In the center, as resplendent as the rising sun, sits Lord Mukunda in a comfortable pose. On the jewel, yes. Okay. He shines like a brilliant dark sapphire, as deep black as lamp black, as dark as a mountain of monsoon clouds, as delicate as a blue lotus. On his black mass of hair, which is thick, glossy, and curled, sits a luminous peacock feather. On his head rest ornaments of parijata blossoms, attended eagerly by swarms of bees. And fresh flowers are on his ears. In the middle of his forehead, surrounded by stray locks of hair, shines vertical bright yellow tilaka, formed between a pair of long creeper-like eyebrows. His face shines like the flowerless moon of the autumn season, and his eyes are white like lotus petals. His mirror-like cheeks glitter with the rays from his jeweled, shark-shaped earrings. His beautiful nose points gracefully upward, and his tender smile, resembling the moon, a jasmine, or a mandaka flower, illuminates all his features. Around his conch-like neck hangs a string of coral flowers and young leaves, and from his shoulders to his feet extends a garland of kalpa-vriksha flowers swarming with intoxicated bees. On his broad chest rests a sparkling string of pearls. Like a constellation of stars, the shining Kaustuba jewel, bright like the sun in the sky, and his distinguishing mark, the Srivatsa. His shoulders are high, his well-formed thick arms, his well-formed thick arms reach to his knees, and his stomach is slightly indented and raised with a handsome deep navel at its center. Extending upward from his navel is a delicate line of black hair. He is decorated with armbands, bracelets, necklaces, anklets, cords, and a golden belt studded with jewels. Various designs are painted on different parts of his body. Around his waist is wrapped a yellow cloth. He has beautiful thighs and knees, charming ankles, and feet more lustrous than polished turtle shells. His toenails shine like ruby mirrors, and his toes are like jeweled leaves. On his pink hands and feet are the pleasing signs of the fish, elephant, goat, chakra, conch, flag, lotus, thunderbolt, and barleycorn. His body, comprising the topmost elements of beauty, conquers the physical attraction of Cupid, the god of love. Sri Krishna is an ocean of unlimited bliss. From his flute, made perfect by association with his lotus face, arise transcendental ragas as he moves his fingers in a simple way. Hearing those ragas, all the creatures and their offspring become attracted and stunned, their hearts melted. Sri Krishna is surrounded by cows with long, slender tails, They approach him with an unsteady gait, for their udders are swollen with milk. Their large eyes become glued to the lotus face of the Lord, while half-chewed tender shoots of grass remain poised on the end of their teeth. The newborn calves remain motionless, their beauty enhanced by the milk foam flowing from their small lips and teeth, with which they had so eagerly sucked at the full udders. They cocked their little ears to hear the deep, enchanting tones from his flute. The older calves, with colorful blankets around their throats and little horns emerging from their soft heads, raised their tails, but each other playfully gallop this way and that, and finally gather around the Lord. The massive bulls, laden with the burden of their huge humps, lowing deeply, approach him lazily. But then the liquid nectar from the flute enters their cocked ears, and they flare their nostrils and tilt up their heads. The cowherd boys, similar to Krishna in character, blissful nature, age, activities, and dress, play sweet, low melodies on their flutes and venas. They sing graceful tunes, and with their arms extended, they dance expertly. The babies, with little lisping words in their mouths, tiger clone hanging from their necks, and jingling bells attached to their ankles and fat bellies, also approach the Lord. The attractive cowherd girls, their waists marked with 3 lines, come forward, eager to serve him. They sway with the weight of their broad, heavy hips, and their heads bow beneath their piles of abundant hair. The desired trees of their bodies, drenched with the nectar from his flute, sprout goose bumps like flowers blooming on a vine. The ocean of prema in the gopis' hearts expands due to the moonbeam smile of Nanda's son, and the splashing from those rushing waves of prema appears as drops of perspiration on the bodies of the laboring gopis. From his long, bowed eyebrows, he shoots sharp glances, a shower of deadly arrows of love that break the vulnerable points in the composure of the gopis. Disturbed but unsubmitting, they try to suppress the painful trembling that begins to afflict all parts of their bodies, but eager to drink the nectar of the incomparable form of Krishna, they furtively glance at him with half-closed, bashful eyes, and thus continue to float in the streams of prema. Swarms of bees surround the gopis, eager to drink the honey flowing from the flowers that have fallen from their loosened tresses. In their intense frenzy, the gopis utter inaudible tender words, and their clothes, their waist bells, jingle from their uncontrollable trembling. Their fine silk clothes, loosened by their heavy breathing, reveal parts of their lustrous bodies, the soft sound of their hesitant footsteps mixed with the sound from their jeweled ankles and echoes in all directions. Their lips quiver, their earrings glitter, and their eyes, rimmed with graceful eyelashes, stay half closed out of shyness. The agitation of their deep breathing causes their pink lips to darken. In their delicate, sportive hands they hold various presentations of their Lord, whom they constantly attend. The Lord, our reservoir of pleasure, is decorated with a garland of full-blown blue lotuses in the form of the gopis' dark, restless eyes, which fix themselves on his form. Those eyes, like a garland of lung-hungry bees, madly drink the liquid honey of his all-attractive face. The gopis, gopas, and cows remain at some distance while the devatas stand in front with Brahma, Shiva, and Indra in the lead, reciting verses to attain material wealth, artha. To the right side stand the assembled munis intent on fulfilling the codes of Dharma with Vedic knowledge. Behind, Sanaka and other yogindras wanting liberation, moksha, remain on a state of samadhi. On the left stand the yakshas, siddhas, gandharvas, vidyadharas, and charanas with their wives, along with the kinnaras and the best of the apsaras. In pursuit of kama pleasure, they sing, dance, and play musical instruments. In the sky appears Narada Muni, as white as a conch and shining like the moon, a jasmine and a lightning bolt. He is decorated with matted locks of reddish hair. Knowing the conclusion of all scriptures, he serves Krishna's lotus feet with undeviating devotion. Having given up all material pleasures, he pleases the Lord by plucking his veena, which produces wonderful melodies arranged in skillful ragas. Beautiful text. So the next, Hare Krishna, very nice. The next part is number 9, part number 9. Sankshepa Archana Padati. An abbreviated manual for deity worship. Oh, where I am. Oh, sorry. I don't know. I think I was not here before. No, this is, I think I was in the wrong. Oh no, I'm here. Yes. Okay, so the next Kshepa Archana Padati. Kshepa Archana Padati. An abbreviated manual for deity worship. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhajana Rahasya. Yes, actually yes, chapter 8. So this next point is about worshipping deities. Some manual about worshipping deities. Yes, not some manual, but just from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhajana Rahasya. Okay. and I will continue to read this next time. Jai, the Gayatri book. Jai His Holiness Sachinandana Swami. Jai His Divine Grace by Charna Ravrinda Shila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Shivratdama Mahimamrita. The Nectarian glories of Vraja Dhamma. translation. All glories to Radha and Krishna and the divine forest of Vrindavana. All glories to the three presiding deities of Vrindavana, Shri Govinda, Gopinatha and Madana Mohana. All glories to Shyama Kunda, Radha Kunda, Govardhana Hill, and the Yamuna River, Kalindi. All glories to the great forest known as Mahavana, where Krishna and Balarama displayed all of their childhood pastimes. All glories to Keshi Gata, where Krishna killed the Keshi demon. All glories to the Vamsivata tree, where Krishna attracted all the gopis to come by playing his flute. Glories to all of the 12 forests of Vraj. At these places, the son of Nanda, Sri Krishna, performed all of his pastimes. All glories to Krishna's divine father and mother, Nanda and Yashoda. All glories to the cowherd boys, headed by Sri Dama, the older brother of Srimati Radharani and Ananga Manjari. All glories to the cows and calves of Vraja. All glories to Radha's divine father and mother, Vrishapanu and the beautiful Kirtida. All glories to Purnamasi, the mother of Sandipani Muni, grandmother of Madhumangala and Nandimukhi, and beloved disciple of Devashri Narada. All glories to the young cowherd maidens of Vraja. All glories to Gopeshwara Shiva, who resides in Vrindavana in order to protect the holy Dhamma. All glories to Krishna's funny Brahmana friend Madhumangala. All glories to Ramagata, where Lord Balarama performed his rasa dance. All glories to Lord Balarama, the son of Rohini. All glories to all of the residents of Vrindavana. All glories to the wives of the proud Vedic Brahmanas. All glories to the wives of the Kaliya serpent. Through pure devotion, they all obtained the lotus feet of Lord Govinda. All glories to the place where the rasa dance of Sri Krishna was performed. All glories to Radha and Shyama. All glories to the divine rasa dance, which is the most beautiful of all Lord Krishna's pastimes. All glories to the mellow of conjugal love, which is the most excellent of all rasas and is propagated in Vraja by Sri Krishna in the form of the divine Parakya Bhava, Paramur love. Remembering the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda's consort, Sri Janava Devi, this very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna sings the Sankirtana of the holy name. Now I will try to read from the Vedic Wisdom Tales. So this book, as you all know, it is actually this is a book from His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura Prabhupada, the Diksha Guru of His Divine Grace Bhacharana Ravrinda Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and this book is translated in English with explanations from Ashri Prema Prayojana Prabhu Maharaj. Jai Vedic Wisdom Tales. Jai the book Vedic Wisdom Tales. Jai His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura Prabhupada. Jai His Divine Grace Bhacharana Ravrinda Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Shri Prema Prayojana Prabhu Maharaj. Jai Shri Narayana Maharaj. Jai Shri Gaur Govinda Maharaj. The next story is actually the story in chapter 15, Prithu and the Ideal Emperor. Prithu and the Ideal Emperor. Vena was born to King Anga in the dynasty of Dhruva and was known for his cruel nature from childhood. When he used to go hunting, seeing him at a distance, the inhabitants would flee, calling out, "Here comes Vena! Here comes Vena!" Since childhood, he was so cruel that he would kill his companions while playing. King Anga tried hard to correct his son. He even punished his son, but it was of no use. Finding no other solution, one day King Anga abandoned his wife and son and went to the forest. Although everyone made a great effort to bring him back, no one could even find him. Giving up all hope of his return, the sages tried to console Vena, urging him to abandon his wicked ways and embrace the worship of Lord Hari. However, Vena claimed, "I am God. There is no other God but me." The sages could not tolerate Vena's criticism of Lord Vishnu, so they destroyed him. Vena's mother preserved the body of Vena through a mantra. Anarchy began to spread throughout the state in the absence of a king. Seeing this, the sages considered the dynasty of King Dhruva should not be destroyed. Great Mahabhagavata devotee kings were born in this lineage. Therefore, this dynasty should be protected. Thinking thus, they began to churn born of Vena's arms. They began to churn both Vena's arms. From this emerged a man and a woman. Both were partial expansions, Amsa, of Bhagavan Sri Vishnu. The one was named Prithu and the woman was named Archi. In time, Prithu Maharaj became the king. Under his rule and by his mercy, the earth began to provide various gifts to its inhabitants. When King Prithu commenced the ceremony of the Ashwamedha Yagya, Indra attempted to steal the sacrificial horse. Fearing the mighty strength of Prithu's son, Indra disguised himself in religious attire. He abandoned the horse and then disappeared. The various types of religion dress Indra adopted for the purpose of stealing the horse were all signs of sin. The various types of religion dress Indra adopted for the purpose of stealing the horse were all signs of sin. The Dijambara Jains, the Buddhists who wear red clothes, and the Kapalikas who carry a skull all continue to wear garments of the heretics. Understanding Indra's deceitfulness, Maharaja Prithu prepared to kill him. But Lord Brahma intervened and protected him. Finally, Sri Hari, the Lord of the sacrifices, appeared at the sacrificial place along with Indra and told Prithu Maharaj, "Indra has obstructed your performance of 100 Ashwamedha Yagas. He is now seeking forgiveness from you. Kindly forgive him." Abiding by the Lord's order, Prithu Maharaj forgave Indra. Indra also grasped Maharaja Prithu's feet and begged for forgiveness. When Lord Vishnu wished to grant boons to Prithu Maharaj, he said, "O Lord, in the matter of giving boons, you are the controlling Lord of all gods. What wise person would ask for a boon thus desired by those who are in the bodily conception of life? All these enjoyable things are available even in hell. If I do not get the opportunity to hear about your glories from the lotus mouths of Vaishnavas, then I will not even pray for salvation. My only prayer unto you, O Lord, my only prayer to you, O Lord, is that you grant me 10,000 years to hear the glorification of your virtues. I do not want anything else. Whoever has ever once heard your glories from the mouths of great personalities, if he is even slightly saragrahi, inclined to accept the essence, then not an animal, he will never give up that association and deprive himself of hearing your glories. So this is a little bit long. I will continue the next time to read this story. Yes, continue the next time with that. Jai Vedic Wisdom Tales. Jai His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Jai His Divine Grace Abhacharana Ravrinda Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prem Prayojana Prabhu Maharaj. Jai Srila Narayan Maharaj. Jai Srila Guru Govinda Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Jai